Well, greetings, all you high thinkers and folks that I hope are thinking in general. Uh, I'm Sid High, and this is Penny. She's hanging out with me today. I don't know where Pepper is at. He probably is afraid to come up the stairs. I wish I could audit that out of that dog. Okay, I was just joking on that. Um, but I wish he could get better. He is scared of stairs. So today, I was going to bring up another interesting thing that Ron Hubbard did in his book Dianetics of Mental Health. And my last video, I was kind of summarizing the things that I found in Scientology that were actually useful. And that also is a way to build propaganda to sell the rest of the stuff that doesn't work, but it doesn't mean you should throw out all of those other things, right? Well, also Ron, uh, I called him an evil genius. Or it's possible, who knows where he got a lot of this. He's an evil plagiarist, maybe also, as one commenter said. But he's also like a criminal that wants to get caught. And the reason I say that, he dedicated the book Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health to Will Durant. Now, why would he do that? Because Will Durant, granted, I think it's a great choice because that got me interested in finding out about Will Durant. Well, he was a historian and wrote on all kinds of subjects. And he wrote this great book called The Story of Philosophy. And I got it and read it in high school. And, you know, it's just interesting to me that this about critical thinking and all of philosophies and thought processes to help protect yourself from misinformation, if you will. But then you get into Scientology after the things that I said are useful, and it's pretty much all propaganda. It's all manipulation. So why would he dedicate Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health to Will Durant? I have no idea. But I'm glad he did because this is just, he's a great historian. He also wrote a 10-book series, and I think it expanded later on. Here's one of them called Caesar and Christ. It's called A Story of Civilization. Now, I have not read this one. I have not read all 10 of them. I've started, but it's a little heavy. But this one is kind of heavy too, but also easier to read and just got a ton of great information in it. But I do want to elaborate on this one thing Will Durant says, and this is the second edition. So the first one came out in, I think it was the 1930s, and this one came out in the late 50s, early 60s. But in his preface to the second edition, here's part of one of the paragraphs. Human knowledge had become unmanageably vast. Every science had begotten a dozen more, each subtler than the rest. And then I'll skip to the bottom of that paragraph, but he goes on about, how the telescope and microscope and physics and all of these things were just, the knowledge was expanding so rapidly, the common man can't keep up with it. Even somebody that used to try and be knowledgeable on various subjects, it got extremely hard because you really had to specialize. And then you couldn't easily communicate that to other people because unless you had a background in it, you wouldn't understand it. So this last sentence I thought was very important. Human knowledge had become too great for the human mind. Okay, bingo, Scientology. That was Ron's premise on trying to free the soul, basically, or the human mind. That was the Dianetics thing through auditing and things like that. So this helps you to counteract all of the later stuff in Scientology that shouldn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and a lot of people don't see that because they're sucked into it. It's overwhelming, all the stuff that's going on in life. Another book that I just found incredible is called Astounding, written by Alec, Nevala-Lee, and it is about the golden age of science fiction, where he's mainly focusing on John W. Campbell, Isaac Asimov, one of my favorites, Robert Heinlein, again, favorite, and Ron Hubbard. His science fiction, I did, still really like it. But this also elaborates on all of the amazing things that were happening in the early 1900s, you know, from Einstein and all of his theories, well, just an incredible amount of knowledge came out. I mean, viruses were discovered, in the early 1900s, and then it just kept going from there. But this also outlines all sorts of how interesting stories on how science fiction does kind of predict the future and manipulates the population in a way, I guess you could say it. And Ron Hubbard being a big part of it. And it's also funny how various people in here in various situations, much like what you're seeing in politics today, and it's kind of always been there, I guess, but not everyone. I'm just saying certain people do this, but they're lying about their resumes or things that happen, or lying in a debate that you can't prove on the spot and you don't find out till later. Like Heinlein, I forget how old he was in a debate and he made up a story about something which proved his point, and they won the debate. But then they came back later and said that was totally false. But of course, the competition was over and he won. So he won by lying and manipulating and creating stories. Well, that to me gives a clue as to what Ron was doing. In fact, I haven't found the quote, but he also stated if you wanted to get rich, form a religion, right? So that was kind of where I wanted to go with this today. There was, I think, one thing in here I wanted to look at real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, it's talking about people and freeing them from their constraints. It says here on page 114, the American people have been conditioned from the cradle by the cleverest and most thorough psychotechnicians to believe in and trust the dictatorship which rules them. If you free them without adequate psychological preparation, like horses led from a burning barn, they will return to their accustomed place. I don't know, that seems to ring really true today as well as back then, right? So I think that's it for this video. I just wanted to bring up some of those things, and then I'm going to elaborate more on this in the next one. Again, trying to keep them somewhat short. I hope you all like this. Maybe it stirs some interest in you. I hope you all follow up on some of this and maybe get some entertainment out of reading some of this. I think it's helpful to civilization to broaden your horizons and read things like this. And anyways, that's, again, my high thoughts, just throwing stuff out there. If you like it, great. If you don't, well, you can, I'm sorry I wasted your time. But anyway, me and Penny are going to sign off for now, and we'll catch you on the next video. Until then, hope you have a great day. See ya.